This is your Fox 29 Morning News.
There are a lot of homes all across the area that are in foreclosure right now, and if you're looking to buy, you could get a great deal. But there are certain things to be aware of before you buy a home in foreclosure. Shari Olefson from Favole White Boggs joins us this morning with some tips. Good morning, Shari, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for
Got to
having me.
be extra careful. Some of these homes do have some issues. So what's the first thing that buyers need to be aware of and on the lookout for if they're buying something in foreclosure?
Well, there are several issues there. When you're looking at a foreclosure, there's no seller around to give you the background in terms of the history, so inspections are very important. And of course, we've all heard about the robo-signer problems with the title to these properties, so you want to make sure that you have a really good title company and a really good lawyer to give you some heads up in advance.
Should you also be aware of, some of these homes may be trashed and it's more than just a fixer-upper in some cases. You've actually got to start from scratch with appliances sometimes.
Yes. Now look, in most cases, most of us who are not professional investors are not buying at the actual foreclosure sale. We're buying what we call REOs from the banks after they've taken the property back. That stands for real estate owned. Okay. That means there's been a long period of time that the seller was in foreclosure. We know in Florida that's often over a year, and that the property then sat while the bank took it back and it got listed. So you really need to look for those hidden sorts of issues in the systems, like the air conditioning system, the electrical system. And yes, you're correct. A lot of buyers, a lot of homeowners who lose their homes are desperate. So they often sell the appliances. Sometimes they're angry at the bank and they destroy the home. So you need to be prepared to do more repairs than usual.
So you need to have a strategy, and what should that be?
Well, there are 4 general tips. The first is to definitely find a good realtor. Always you want to work with the right realtor, but particularly when you're buying foreclosures, they need to know the neighborhood and they need to know the REO procedure and how that works. And you really should be prepared in advance to act quickly, because if there are more than one buyer bidding on a home you're interested in, if you can act quickly, that's going to really count. So have your inspector lined up, your loan lined up, and again, your lawyer and your title company.
What would you say are the risks?
The main risk, of course, is with the flaws in the property itself, the physical inspection. You want to make sure you have a mold inspection done, which is unusual. Oftentimes when someone's living in a home, you don't need to worry about that issue. Here in South Florida, when you've got a vacant home sitting, you want to make sure that you don't have any issues with that. And again, the systems, sprinkler systems, air conditioning systems, cooling systems, anything that's not visible, but that could decay if it's not working for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's always a big deal anytime you're buying a house, but in a foreclosed home that may have been sitting around, maybe not being taken care of, it's even a bigger deal.
Extra careful, but there are 42,000 REOs in South Florida, the Tri-County area now, so plenty of opportunity.
All right, so briefly, if you had a friend or relative who was in the market for a foreclosed home, what advice would you give them?
Again, choose the right realtor. This is not the time to do your new daughter-in-law who's got her new real estate license a favor by throwing her business. Prepare in advance so that you can move quickly. Be persistent, because oftentimes you're going to make an offer on a home. It may be rejected last month. This month, the bank's situation and their perception may be different. Don't be afraid to make that offer again.
All right, Shari, great advice as always. Thank you. We'll see you next time. And next week, we'll be talking to an expert about how to restore your credit if you've had to enter into foreclosure. Tips on how to raise your credit score. Very important there. Roxanne, back over to you.
Time now for a look at weather and traffic, and let's begin with